All right, guys. Those who are online, please let me know if you are not able to hear anything or if you are not clear about anything. Please feel free to speak up. Okay. But offline, guys, you can directly speak to me. All right. And very frankly, guys, I've done many batches, but then this is the first time that I'm dealing with online and offline both together. So please bear with me. All right. I'm being very frank. Okay. If I don't know something, I'll tell I don't know. All right. So let's start. So everybody has my introduction, right? I'm Sham. I'll be dealing with your LoadRunner session, and Pawan would be dealing with your JMeter session. Okay. So Pawan would start a new JMeter session by the end of this month or by next month starting. All right. So the dates are not decided yet, but he will start it by the end of this month or by next month. All right. So you can take both the courses parallelly if you have the time, or you can take one course at a time according to your convenience. All right. And guys, please remember, you have to spend at least 3 hours on this course. 1 hour in the classroom or online, whatever, and 2 hours for your practice. You have to spend that time and ensure that you complete your tasks daily. If you are not able to complete your task daily, if you think that we'll do it tomorrow or next week, if you keep on postponing like that, it will become very, very difficult for you to catch up. Okay. This course is designed to go extremely slow. Like it is designed to actually catch up non-computer science background guys. If you see this particular slide, you would actually see that this is starting from what is your computer, right? Anybody who is Hindi? Anybody who is from Hindi background guys? Online folks. అందరు తెలుగేనా?
Yes, bro.
అందరు తెలుగే కదా? Guys, from online, you have to respond. Otherwise, I wouldn't know whether you are listening to me or not.
Yes,
Yes,
bro.
sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming everybody is from Telugu background. So I'm usually more comfortable in English, but then sometimes I might actually shift to Telugu. All right. Okay. So ఇది చిన్న పిల్లల దగ్గర నుంచి అంటే లైక్ 7th 8th క్లాస్ పిల్లల దగ్గర నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేసేటట్టు ఉంటుంది. We'll catch up very fast. That doesn't mean that I will go so slow. We'll catch up very fast, but then we will ensure that even the non-computer science background guys would be able to catch up. Okay. Sometimes you guys, computer science background especially, those guys might feel a little bored. They'd feel like, okay, ఇంత స్లోగా చెప్తున్నారంటే ఏంటి, ఇంత చిన్న చిన్న టాపిక్స్ కూడా చెప్తున్నారంటే అనిపించవచ్చు. But then we have to ensure everybody is on the same page. All right, guys? Yes, guys? Okay.
Okay.
Online folks, you have to respond to me. Okay. Sometimes
Okay.
I'm actually running on hotspot, so sometimes it might actually break, and I would never know if you are not responding. I would never know whether you are online or whether you are offline. Are you guys there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please keep responding. Okay.
Okay.
So, any questions till now?
No.
All right. So, you want to come in? Come in. And guys, I know that my voice is a little slow. So, people who are sitting in the back, if you are not able to hear me, please come and sit in the front because I can't shout. Okay. Please come and sit in the front. All right. All right. So, what is a computer? Forget about performance testing. We'll go to that a little afterwards. Okay. But let's start with what is a computer? What is a computer? What would we do with the computer? How would the computer work? Yes, guys. Anyone?
Computer is electronic machine.
Go on.
It is programmed to automate our daily tasks.
Which is programmed to automate the daily tasks. Okay. So what we basically do is, with the help of computer, we'll actually be able to do our task a little faster. All right. Yes, I'm not going into the definitions and everything. We'll go on a high level. All right. So now, what would the computer mainly consist of? What are the main components of computer? CPU, monitor, mouse,
keyboard.
sorry,
Keyboard.
What
Printer.
would the CPU consist of? This one in 7th class like this.
Motherboard,
This answer
RAM.
would be pretty good, right? But what would the CPU consist of? What are the main components of our box, CPU box?
Motherboard, RAM.
Desktop CPU choosera? Yes, guys?
Yes.
Mostly we are using laptops nowadays, right? So, okay, what would the CPU consist of? Motherboard, RAM, hard disk. These are the main components. There are a lot of other components, but these are the main components. This motherboard is the main processing unit. The main processing unit, and then you have RAM, and then you have hard disk. Those are the main components of that particular box, right? And then you have this monitor, keyboard, mouse. These are not required for the computer to function. Okay, even though these are not there, the computer would function, but without the processing unit, without the hard disk, without the RAM, the computer will not be able to function, right? Now, what is this particular processing unit? What is the RAM? What is hard disk? Yes, guys, fast. These things which are absolute basics, we will go a little fast. And if anybody is not able to understand this, please let me know. All right, we'll go slow. All right. Yes, guys. So what would this particular CPU do? What would the RAM do? What would the hard disk do? Let's take the easy one first. Hard disk. What would the hard disk do? It would store whatever the data that is there. It would store it in the hard disk, right? Guys, some might think that this is very easy, but for some, it would be absolutely new. And sometimes you might actually think that we know everything, but then when you go down to the basics, you might actually get a little confused. All right. When I say memory, I'll give you a very small example. When I say memory, what do you mean by memory? Who are computer science background here in the class? What do you mean by memory?
Which registers the data?
No, in this particular CPU, hard disk, RAM, in all this, what do you mean by memory?
RAM is also memory.
RAM is the memory. There are a lot of times that I've heard hard disk is the memory.
No, RAM is memory.
Okay, so what is hard disk?
Hard disk is storage unit,
wherein we would store all the data permanently. Okay, at least assume permanently until that hard disk gets crashed. Okay, yes, guys. All right. So hard disk is the place wherein you would actually store the data permanently. Right. Now, what is RAM? Random access memory. Right. So what is RAM?
temporary memory storage unit.
Temporary memory. What do you mean by temporary memory? We'll come back to that particular RAM in a bit. We'll go to CPU to start, the central processing unit. So the central processing unit is the one which would actually process your data in order to automate your task or whatever, right? So in order to use this particular data, in order to process this particular data, what would the CPU need? Some temporary space. Think of it like you are cooking some meal. All right. Where would all your vegetables or meat be there? Maybe in the fridge. Where would you cook? On the stove. But before that, cooking and before the meat coming out of the fridge or vegetables coming out of the fridge, you would have to cut them. You would have to clean them and all those things, which would happen on the counter, kitchen counter or some place, isn't it? So that particular place is called as RAM. Okay, a temporary space wherein you would actually, the processing unit would actually be able to process the data. That is called as RAM. Is that clear? Yes, guys. Okay.
Yes.
Pretty good. Now the processing unit would actually process this particular data. Okay. Pretty simple, guys. Yes, guys. Any questions?
No questions.
Online.
No, sir.
Very good. Now, just having these three components, would you actually be able to process the data and everything? I have a processing unit, I have a RAM, I have a hard disk. I have connected these three. Now, would I be able to give the commands and would I be able to get them to work? Not possible. Why? Because they don't understand my language, isn't it? So what do I need in order to make it understand my language? Operating system, which is a software which would be able to coordinate between these three and which would actually be able to get my data processed. Clear, guys? So that is the operating system that we would actually have. Now, what are the different operating systems? Windows, Linux. Ubuntu is a flavor of Linux or Unix. Let's say Windows, Unix, and Solaris. These are the three main operating systems, iOS. Okay, these are the four main operating systems. Now, the Linux, the iOS, these are all flavors of Unix. All right, and then you have Solaris, and then you have Windows operating system. Very, very frankly, the Solaris and Windows are also flavors of Unix, but then they are developed so much that they are actually considered a little different. Is that clear, guys? Yes, guys. Any questions? Guys, if somebody is in the waiting room, please let me know. Okay. I'm not seeing this particular my monitor very frequently. Okay. So these are the three main operating systems. Now, what is the operating system that I have? Windows. Most of us, we would actually use Windows. Now, when you go on to the servers, what is a server? What is a server? This is my laptop, wherein I would actually be able to do my tasks and everything. But then this is extremely, very, very low powered machine. Okay. When I want to actually use it for extremely high processing, lots of tasks to be done at the same time, I would use a much higher powered machine, which we would call it as a server. Right, guys? So on the server, what are the kind of operating systems that we would have? Again, the same thing, Windows, Unix, and Solaris. But most of the times, guys, you would actually find the servers to be on the Unix operating systems. Most of the times, not all the times. Be very clear, guys, not all the times. Most of the times, we would actually find it in the Unix operating system. Okay? Yes, guys. Now, do we need to know all the commands of Unix and everything? Not necessarily, but a little understanding of how the Unix commands works would really help you. All right. So we'll go through that as and when it is required. Is it clear? Yes, guys. Online.
Clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So what is the operating system that I have? you would actually be able to see that yes. So if you go into this PC, if you right click and if you go into the properties, you would actually be able to see all the properties of this particular machine. All right. So what is the operating system that I'm running? Windows 10 Home. All right. Now this is a very, very low powered machine. All right. But even in the laptops, this is a very old machine that I bought like 10 years back. All right. But if you actually your recent laptops and all, you might actually have a little higher configurations. Okay, guys, in order to run the LoadRunner, at least have 8 GB of RAM. Please understand that you need to have at least 8 GB of RAM. Higher is better. Okay, is that clear, guys? Now, I have this particular Windows 10 Home. This is the operating system that I have on this machine. Anyone, if you go into your laptops, you would actually be able to open this particular properties and you would actually be able to see what is the operating system that you are running. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys.
Clear.
I'm sorry, is there a question online?
No,
No,
sir,
bro.
no.
All right. Okay, so, and what are the system configurations? What do you mean by system configurations? What do you mean by system configurations? What is the size of my RAM? What is the speed of my CPU? How much hard disk do I have? These are my system configurations. Okay, these are the important system configurations. Those are not the all configurations. Those are the important system configurations. Okay, start recording. Okay, okay, those are the important system configurations. Right now, what is the RAM that I have? 8 GB RAM. Right, and what is the processor that I have? I have an i5 processor with the speed of 2.6 gigahertz, right? i5 3230M CPU, right? At the time that I bought this laptop, this was the latest configuration, all right? Guys, if you're not speaking, can you please be on mute? And guys, please concentrate on the session. Do not, especially the online guys. The classroom guys, I'll be able to concentrate, but the online guys, please concentrate on the session. And if possible, not if possible, I would say everyone, please put your cameras on. Okay? At least I will be able to see if somebody is not concentrating. Okay? Please put your cameras on this. I know some people might not be ready today, but from tomorrow on, please ensure that you're absolutely ready and you have your cameras on. Okay? Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, what is the other specification that we are supposed to know about? Yes, guys. We know about the RAM. We know about the processor. Okay, guys, when I ask you, in order to tell me what is the RAM, what is your processor, you should be able to immediately tell that. Okay, you should not think about it. You should be able to immediately tell me about that. All right, now, what is the other configuration? Yes, guys, hard disk. You have to be loud. Okay, guys, one more very important thing. Why are we all here? To learn?
LoadRunner.
No. Be very frank. Why are you here? Who cares
To
whether
secure a job.
JMeter or any other damn thing? What we want finally? We want a job, right? Can I assure you, or can anybody assure you that if you learn this particular course, you would actually be able to get a job? Yes, guys.
No.
No one will be able to assure you. Can I assure you that you would be able to enjoy this particular tool? Not really. Everybody has their own way of dealing things, right? I won't be able to assure you that, please come. You would actually be able to enjoy this. But guys, in order to get a job, one important thing that we have to do is to build your communication and confidence. That is common, whether you talk about whether you are in the computer science background, whether you are dealing with LoadRunner, JMeter, whether you are in some mechanical field, civil field, whatever, accounting field, whatever. The important thing is you would actually need to have the communication and confidence. Okay, that is another important thing that we want to build in this particular session. Okay, yes, guys. So whoever wants to speak, please speak up. Please ensure that you speak in a very loud noise, very loud voice, and make your voice heard. Okay, this is a small group, guys, very small group, isn't it? Yes, guys. Okay, right? Isn't it? Yes, guys. So do not hesitate to speak up. All right. Now, I'm sorry. Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't get your point. Right. Who is that? Okay. All right. Okay. So what is the other configuration that we were talking about?
Speed.
I'm sorry.
Speed, sir. You have already mentioned about the speed also while going with the configuration.
Speed of the processor we have already mentioned. But what is the other
Okay.
configuration that we haven't talked about? Hard disk.
Hard disk.
Right? What is the capacity of the hard disk? Okay. So what would be the capacity of this hard disk? Yes, guys. Over here,
1 TB.
actually 1 TB, right? Approximately 1 TB. Clear, guys? So 1 TB is the total amount of data that I would actually be able to store on this machine. Okay, not more than that. Okay, clear about this, guys? So these are the main configurations that we would actually look at. Whether you are looking at your own machine, whether you are looking at a server or whatever it is, these are the main things that we are going to look at. Okay, yes, guys. Okay, based on this, we would actually be able to understand what is the capacity of the server. Okay, whether the capacity of the server is high, whether the capacity of the server is low, whatever it is, these are the base configurations. Okay, without these base configurations, we would not be able to judge anything. Clear about this, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. ఎంతమందికి బోర్ పడుతుంది ఫ్రాంక్గా చెప్పండి. Yes, guys. Sorry.
బోరేం అనిపించట్లేదు, బానే ఉంది.
Thank God for that. All right. So those are the base configuration place, and those are the base system configuration. All right. The next thing that we are going to talk about is the IP address. What is the IP address? Let's take a step back. Now, మన దగ్గర CPU ఉంది, హార్డ్ డిస్క్ ఉంది, ఇంకేమున్నాయి, ర్యామ్ ఉంది, వాటిలన్నీ కనెక్ట్ చేసాం, ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ వేసాం దాని మీద. వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు రన్ సమ్ application on that particular machine. Okay, we are going to run some application on that particular machine. We need to, most of the times these days, we need to collaborate with other applications in order to ensure that we get our work done. Even మన డాక్యుమెంట్స్ కూడా మనం ఎక్కడ పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం, క్లౌడ్ లో పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం. మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఆర్ ఆన్ ద వన్ డ్రైవ్. అవునా కదా? Yes guys. Guys,
Yes.
a few people joined now. Anybody from Hindi background, please let me know. Hopefully everyone is Telugu. Okay, right. So where am I? IP address, right. So we have to collaborate with other applications. In order to do that, what we are doing, we are making use of other applications as well. In order to collaborate with the other applications, in order to connect with the other applications which are there on the other servers, other machines, what would we do? We would have to connect to them through a network. Okay, we would have to connect to them through a network. Now, networking is an extremely wide concept, but then we will stick to whatever that is needed for us. All right. So in order to connect to that particular network, what would we do? We would either use LAN, WAN, whatever, right? LAN is local area network. WAN is wide area network. Okay. We would use wireless connections, LAN, WAN, whatever, right? In order to connect to this particular other machine. Now, when you have to connect to this particular other machine, what is the thing that you need to know? IP address. For example, you want to learn LoadRunner. Who would teach you LoadRunner? Shyam would teach you LoadRunner. Now you sit in your house, Shyam, please teach me LoadRunner. Would it happen? No. What you have to do? You would have to find my address. You would have to find that, okay, the MGMITtraining employees Shyam. He would be available over there. So you find out what is the address of MGMITtraining, go there, you would actually be able to contact Shyam or Pawan. Right? In order to do that, you need to know the address. Similarly, whatever the application that we are trying to coordinate with, all those applications are there on some machine. Gallo leva avanni, right? Everything is there on some server, machine, or whatever. And we need to know the address of that particular machine. Yes, guys. We need to know the address of that particular machine. Now, can I say the address? Like, okay, Amirpet lo, MGMITtraining Institute lo, 505 లో ఓ ల్యాప్టాప్ ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని కనెక్ట్ అవ్వని చెప్పగలనా? Difficult, right? For networking purposes, the address, they have designed this particular address like IP address. Okay, what is IP? Internet protocol address, right? Yes, guys. Okay, so what we would do, we would use this particular IP address in order to contact any machine. Clear, guys? Yes, guys. Okay, now what is this particular IP address? Where would we be able to find out the IP address, and how would we be able to get the IP address? Yes, guys. Can anybody tell me how would we get the IP address? Through the command line. Okay. So I can go into my command prompt, and in the command prompt, I can say IP config, and I would actually be able to get the IP address. Okay. And what is my IP address? Sorry, 172.20.10.1. This is my what is this?
System's IP address.
Private IP. What do you mean by private IP? Right now, I have connected to my hotspot. Right now, I can give access to this hotspot to multiple people. Right now, this hotspot, the public IP that I'm actually able to show to the general public is different from what is the IP address that I'm showing to internal guys. Right? Yes, guys. So whatever that we are actually seeing is the private IP. Now, if I want to see my public IP, my IP address.com, what is that? I forgot. What is my IP address? Okay, so what is my public IP? Is that clear, guys? Yes, guys. So if
Yes.
somebody from outside want to contact my computer, they have to come through this particular IP address. All right, is that clear? Now, guys, this is one important thing that we have to notice. This is IPv4. What is the problem with IPv4? There are only certain number of IPs that are available. Now, guys, everything is going online. నేను ఇంట్లో ఉంటే I would have at least 15 devices connected to the internet at the same time. Bare minimum. Right? My laptop, my phone, my office laptop, my tab, my TV, my mom's phone, my dad's phone, my mom's tab, my dad's computer. Right? My sister's phone. There will be at least 10 to 15 devices that would be connected to the internet. Right? And everything should get an IP. My security system. Right? There are so many things that are connected to the internet. Now, everything should get an IP address. And everything, when it is getting connected to the internet, more and more people are getting connected to the internet these days. Right? Now, there are only certain number of IPv4 addresses that you can configure. Right? And we are fast approaching a place wherein we are running out of those particular IPv4 addresses. So we have come up with a new concept of IPv6. Right? So this is the IPv6. See, in the IPv4, how many things are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. And in IPv6, how many will be there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 8 will be there. Okay? Clear about it, guys? Okay? So this would be the IPv6, which would have many more IP addresses for us to come. So slowly, we are going to get converted to the IPv6. Okay? Is that clear, guys? IPv4, I would give it a few more years. After that, it would be deprecated. Okay? Clear about it, guys? Yes, guys.
Yes,
Online,
sir.
guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now, where would I be able to see my IPv6 address over here? Okay. Yes, guys. Okay. So this is the IPv4 and IPv6. Now, guys, every machine would have we would assign a name, right? We can give any name. Now, I have given a name to my system. Does that mean you cannot give the same name to your system? Not really. There can be 100 shams in Hyderabad, right? Thousands of shams in Hyderabad. Anybody can have the same name. Who cares, right? So we would not be able to identify a machine or computer or server with the help of name. Okay, but then it is a little difficult to find out to remember the address. So usually what we would do, we would be able to remember it with the help of the name, right? So what is the name of this machine? Okay, I would actually be able to get the name of this machine with the help of command hostname. Okay, guys, ipconfig, hostname, basic commands. Please note down. Please ensure that you would actually be able to get this. Okay, yes, guys. Okay, so that is about the IP addresses and the hostname. All right, yes, guys. Clear about it? Any questions? LAN, WAN? Somebody wants to explain? Yes, guys. What is LAN? Local area network. If there is, in this particular room, if there are some 20 machines that are there, and I want to connect all these 20 machines with one public IP, then I would create a LAN, right? I would create a LAN. Okay, that is a local area network. And wide area network is if I want to create a bigger space. Is that clear, guys? Yes, guys. Any questions? All right.
No, sir.
Very good. Now, guys, let's say I want to know whether I'm actually able to connect to one particular machine or not. Right? Whether I'm able to connect to one particular machine or not. What would I do? I would just ping the machine. What do you mean by ping the machine? Hi, Japram. Okay, just say hi. Okay, do not say more. Just whether you are able to connect to that particular machine or not, whether that particular machine is responding to you or not. Okay, yes, guys. In hi chapter, you should be able to respond back, right? So I can use the command ping. Okay, for example, if I ping Google server, what would happen? The Google server is responding to me. Okay, I got your ping message. Hello back. Okay, yes, guys, right? So this is the ping command. Okay, so we use this particular ping commands, especially when we are trying to check whether all our internal machines are accessible or not. Okay, clear about this, guys? Especially when we are dealing with the load generators, do not do not be confused, no. But when the time comes, when we talk about the load generators and all, right? In order to see whether our load generators are getting connected and all, we would use this particular ping commands. Okay, or rather say the LoadRunner or the JMeter would internally use the ping commands in order to understand whether it is able to connect to that particular machine or not. All right? Yes, guys. So that is the ping command. Okay. let's take a small break over here. Anybody has any questions? And guys, please do not hesitate. If you have any questions, please be pretty open about it. Please ask. Do not think that these are basics. That's why we should not ask. We might look like an idiot. A person who would ask would look like an idiot only once. A person who do not ask, even if he has a question, would be an idiot forever. Right? మనం ఇప్పుడు ప్రస్తుతానికి అరే ఇంత చిన్న క్వశ్చన్ అడిగారు ఏంటా అనిపించవచ్చు. బట్ దెన్ అది అడగకపోతే దాని మీద మనం ప్రాపర్ గా ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ద అండర్స్టాండింగ్ వాట్ వుడ్ హ్యాపన్, మనకి ఎప్పటికీ ఆ క్వశ్చన్ అలాగే ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సో డు నాట్ హెసిటేట్ టు ఆస్క్.
Hello. Hi, Shyam.
Hey, yeah, please tell me.
So while doing VPN video configuration, which IP they are using?
I'm sorry, Prakash, can you repeat that?
So while doing the VPN and VDA configuration, which IP they are using?
We will be using our public IP. Public as well as private IPs. What is VPN?
Okay. The virtual protocol network.
Virtual private network, right?
Virtual.
So what is this particular VPN being used for?
So remote the desktop actually.
In order to connect to some network in a secured manner, and in order to gain complete access to that particular network, we would use the VPN. Okay? And for example, if I have to work for my organization, right? If I have to work for my organization, would the organization, as the performance tested, I would actually need a lot of accesses to the internal servers, right? Now, would those accesses, would they be available publicly? No, because if they are available publicly, if somebody is able to crack the password, what would happen? The servers would be hacked. It would become very, very easy. Okay. Whereas if you use a VPN, virtual private network, now that is the first level of defense. It is not very easy to actually get into the VPN. Now, once they get into the VPN, the second level of defense would be their passwords and everything to the servers, right? So you are actually creating a virtual private network for any organization for allowing authorized people to log into their systems. Okay, so that is a VPN. Is that clear, guys? That VPN is there here, but then I wanted to talk about it a little later, but somebody actually asked this question, so I'm just talking about it. Okay, so we will create a VPN, and once a VPN is, how would the VPN be created? There would be a secured connection that would be established from your computer to the office network, to the organization's network, to wherever that you want to connect, right? Now, in order to do that, you would actually have to use your private IP, you would have to use your public IP, because first, I'm connecting from my machine to my hotspot. I have a private IP, then the public IP. Those have to be connected, and you would actually create a secure connection between the organization. Okay, everything would be used in this particular case. Is that clear, guys? Okay. You have seen the command prompt. Everybody knows what is the command prompt, right? Now, in the command prompt, we would not be able to execute all kinds of commands. There are some commands that we would be able to execute only when we have admin privileges. Okay, so we would also be able to use a command prompt with the admin privileges. Okay, is that clear, guys? Yes, guys. What is a firewall? Good.
Security system.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Firewall, right?
Yeah, firewall.
It's a security system.
It's a security
So
system which would prevent
from
any
attacks.
unauthorized applications to access our systems, right? So basically, any programs, any virus that wants to get installed on our machine, the firewall should ideally be able to prevent it. Okay? Yes, guys. So the firewall on our level, when I'm talking about my machine, it could be a small software. Okay, it could actually be a small software that is there on my machine, the firewall. But when you actually talk about an organization, for example, Google, right? They would have a hardware firewall as well. That is a machine through which the whole traffic flows through, and that particular machine would actually be checking whether any of this particular traffic has any virus or not. Clear, guys? Yes, guys. Any questions? Yes, guys? Is that clear?
Yes.
Now, what is the remote desktop connection? We would actually be able to access another computer from our machine. Okay. So, for example, if you have a machine over here, we are connected through the LAN, right? If I want to access your machine, I would actually be able to, of course, the firewall has to be open in order to access that particular machine remotely. And we would also need to have appropriate accesses. Okay. But we would actually be able to access another machine with the help of this particular remote desktop connection. Okay. So on any Windows machine, you would actually have this particular remote desktop connection. Okay. So I would actually be able to access this. I would actually be able to give the computer name or the IP address over here, and I can actually click on connect. If the other machine that I'm trying to connect has got the firewall open in order to let this machine access the remote desktop, then it would allow me to access. Okay? Yes, guys. Okay. Why would we use this? Why would we use this? How many of you are working in the computer's background, not in other areas? Okay. So do you use RDC? You use Citrix. Okay. But also a kind of
Asham,
RDC.
actually, Asham,
Go on.
we are not using RDC, but we use RDP. We
Right.
are using RDP
RDP is basically remote desktop
protocol, I think.
protocol, right? So
Yeah.
that RDP is the protocol that we will use in order to connect to the remote machine. Okay. So why would we use this? On another
To access
machine.
the system. Yeah.
Now, why would we connect to the another machine? Sometimes we might actually need to work only on the client machines. In those cases, what would happen? We might actually have to connect to a client machine. In order to connect to the client machine, what would we do? We would actually make use of this particular remote desktop connection, Citrix, okay? A lot of other softwares are there, okay? Virtual desktop interface, VDI, all right? A lot of softwares are there in order to connect to the machine. Citrix, VDI, those are really secure, okay? Those are really secure. But remote desktop is a little less secure. Usually we use this particular remote desktop inside the LAN or WAN. Inside the LAN or WAN. But Citrix and VDI, we would actually use in a little more public environment. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. Okay, so we have this particular remote desktop connection. Okay, clear, guys? If I have a machine, if I'm in the same organization, if I have a machine on the in my US office, if I have to access that particular machine, something is there in that particular machine that I have to access, or an application is accessible only from that particular machine, not accessible from my machine. There will be a lot of scenarios like this. All right. In those cases, you would actually make use of this particular RDC, remote desktop connection. Clear, guys? Yes, guys. Okay. Now, there are a few Windows shortcuts. We'll talk about one or two now, and after that we will talk as and when they are required. Okay. So now let's say I want to open the Windows Explorer. What is the Windows Explorer? This is my Windows Explorer, right? So that I can actually go into my internal files and all. What is the command that would have that I would use in order to open this? Yes, guys. Windows E, right? So if I press on this particular Windows button and E button together, then what would happen? My Windows Explorer would open. Okay. And if I have to open the run prompt, wherein I would actually be able to use any other commands. That is Windows R. All right. Over here, if I give this particular MSTSC, what is MSTSC? What is MSTSC? Microsoft Terminal Services Connection. Okay. Microsoft Terminal Service Connection. What is terminal? Basically another computer. Right. So in order to open the RDC, remote desktop connection, I would give this particular command MSTSC in the run prompt. In order to open the command prompt, I would give CMD over here. If I want to open an Excel sheet, in the run prompt, I would give Excel. Okay. If I want to open a Microsoft Word, yes, guys. If I want to open a Microsoft Word,
MS Word.
WinWord. Okay. Clear about it, guys? So just a few Windows shortcuts, guys. Sometimes it would be much easier to deal with the Windows shortcuts instead of actually using the mouse or the other commands. Okay, especially when you are dealing with the remote desktops or the Citrix or the VDI, it would be very easy for us to actually deal with the Windows commands rather than using the mouse. Okay. How fast is your Citrix? Based on the network connection, right? Sometimes మన network connection బాగోకపోతే, especially మన time బాగోకపోతే, మనం mouse ఇలా move చేస్తే అలా move అవ్వడానికి గంట పట్టింది. Okay, but it is easier to actually use the commands. Okay, అది move అయ్యే లోపల మన patience మొత్తం పోతుంది. Nowadays it is much better. If you would have talked about in the starting of my career, Citrix అంటే భయపడిపోయేవాళ్ళు. I've got 18 years of experience. Okay, in the starting of my career, that is around 17 years back, Citrix machine తో నేను వర్క్ చేయాలి అంటే I would try my level best to avoid that project. Not because I don't know how to deal with it, because it would really test my patience. Okay, clear about it, guys? So, especially when you are dealing with those things, the Windows shortcuts would come in really handy. Okay, these days it's a little easier. The network speeds are much higher, and it's a little easier. But still, it is always better to know our Windows connections. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. Any questions? Any questions, guys? I will talk about one more topic and then we will stop the session for today. Okay. Now, what is a DNS server? What is a DNS server? ఇక్కడ లేదు. So, మీరు slide చూడండి. So, what is a DNS server? Yes, guys. Domain naming server. Right? What is this particular domain naming server? It will store the addresses. Right? Now, for example, I want to access the Google's website. ఇందాక మనం ఏం చెప్పుకున్నాం? If I want to contact any application, I need to know the address of that particular application, right? But Google website access cheyadaniki, am I actually giving the address of that particular website? Nenu anna IP address anna type chestunana? No. What am I typing? What am I typing? URL bar lo. What is URL? Uniform resource locator. Okay, in this particular URL bar, I'm giving the www.google.com. Now, how would this particular google.com, how would this command know where to go? It would go and ask the moment I give this command, www.google.com, the moment I give this command, it would go and ask the DNS server. It would go to the DNS server and it would ask, okay, you know what? Can you please give me the address of this particular Google.com? Okay? Yes, guys. On Google Maps, all right? And address we'll open that particular app and we would type in that particular address and we would ask for the directions. Right? So, in the DNS server, most of the addresses that are common would be listed. You would have master DNS, and so on. So you would actually be able to search for that particular address somewhere in the masters. Okay, now they'll put a pine on. All right, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. Okay, so that is the DNS server, domain naming server. So this particular DNS server would resolve this URL into the IP address. Okay, it would resolve the domain name into the IP address. Is that clear? Yes, sir. It would take a little time for me to actually learn your names. But for now, if I see some doubtful face, I would actually point my hand to you. Please don't take it otherwise. Okay? Your face seems a little doubtful. Are you able to understand? You are able to get it? Please feel free to ask questions, guys. All right? If you have any question, do not hesitate to ask. Okay? So, the DNS server would actually resolve this particular domain name to the IP address. Okay? Is that clear? Now, let's just say I'm developing a new application. I still did not update this particular, DNS server with my domain name. I still did not update this particular, DNS with the domain name, how to resolve it, to which IP address it has to resolve it. I still did not update all those. It would take a little bit of time. Okay. Now, in that particular case, how would I be able to contact the application? I'm just trying to test it internally. So how would I be able to contact that particular application? either through IP address, I can actually give the IP address directly and I can actually contact that particular application. Or what I can do is, I would actually be able to give that particular, domain name, whatever the domain name that I want to give in the future, I can give that particular domain name and the IP address in a file in my own machine called as host file. Okay? In a file called as host file. And what would happen is, when I give this particular IP address, what my machine would do is, first, it would go to the host file, it would check whether that particular, there is any mapping to that particular, domain to the IP address in the host file. If it is not there, only then it would contact the DNS. Okay? Where would the host file be there? Anyone? Yes, guys. Actually, నేను యూస్ చేసి చాలా రోజులైంది, so give me a moment. సిస్టమ్ కట్టి అక్కడ వరకు గుర్తుంది. Easiest way. Right? Where is it? C, Windows, System32, drivers, etc, and host file. So just if you open this particular host file, you would actually be able to save. Okay, like this. What is this? What is the IP address that we want to map? And what is the domain name that we want to use for it? Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. Any questions? Okay, so this is how we would actually be able to make use of the host file. Any questions? Yes, guys. All right. So, guys, what we would do is we would take a break now. We would stop it for today. I know these are absolute basics. We will, once everybody is comfortable, we will start running a little faster with this basics. Okay, and then we would fastly reach the performance testing basics. We would complete this particular Windows basics by tomorrow, and we would reach the performance testing basics. Okay, so we will start talking about the performance testing basics probably from day after. Okay, clear about it, guys? Guys, మనం computer science background, so skip చేసేద్దాము అలా పెట్టుకోండి. Okay, please attend every day's class. Please ensure that you have, even though you are getting a little bored, spend 1 hour. All right, clear about it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, bro.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So So guys, so guys, can you take one paper and can you just write down all the names over here that are there in the classroom? Let me actually. All